Now, we're going to take a closer look at applied materials and their focus into the augmented reality space. I thought AR was dead, Billy. I thought it's all about AI right now. What's happening here?
AR is yeah, AR was so late 2021. It's so over. But apparently Applied Materials doesn't really think so. Smart glasses, AR, VR is a relatively small niche right now, but like Applied Materials sees an opportunity there, I think. Now, I came across this in Silicon Valley Business Journal and kind of came out of left field with all the attention on scaling chips, AI chips, semiconductor manufacturing, the CHIPS Act. Um, Applied Materials looks like it's trying to become a player in actually manufacturing the waveguides, which is the type of specialized glass that goes into smart glasses, AR goggles. And what's interesting is that Applied Materials is an equipment maker. They sell the equipment, and then a foundry like TSMC or Global Foundries makes the chip. Applied Materials looks like it actually wants to design and manufacture this glass itself. So it wants to be the designer, the equipment supplier, and the contract manufacturer for other companies, potentially even like the Metas and Googles and Microsofts of the world for AR, VR glasses in the future. Now, so this specialized glass is called a waveguide, and this quote from the article stood out to me. The manufacturing process for waveguides Applied has settled on is much like that for computer chips. So Applied is able to take its expertise in semiconductor manufacturing chips and apply it to this glass. Involves the placement of nanometer-sized features in specific shapes and patterns on a piece of glass, sometimes on both the front and the back, and sometimes in multiple layers. Chip designs essentially move electricity around circuits, whereas waveguides move light. So apparently, there's some sort of industry knowledge. You know, you think about smart glasses. You need to wear smart glasses so you can see through to the outside world, but then also have images projected back onto you in similar fashion. So there's going to be these tiny components within the glass that's probably going to be imperceptible when you're wearing them. And if you think about it, the advanced semiconductor equipment manufacturers are in perfect position to do that since they already are an expert at depositing extremely tiny nanometer sized components onto chips already. Um, Moving on to the next slide, this effort actually began 6 years ago under the Engineered Optics Unit. I think Applied invested in some like AR, VR startups as well. Maybe they brought those in house since then. I came across a blog post from like a couple of years ago when they talk about it, actually. Again, they can use their existing tools and expertise to make waveguides and not just semiconductors. Uh, Applied is they're actually already starting to manufacture some waveguides in house. They've signed several startups as clients. One company the article mentioned is a Finland based startup called Dispelix, and they manufacture glass for, I think, some of the big AR, VR players. Again, this is a relatively small market now. I think there's only about 300,000 units sold of AR, VR glasses, but IDC thinks that could reach 5 million by 2026. Maybe that's optimistic if you're a skeptic that AR, VR is always going to be sort of this niche product for tech geeks. But as sort of manufacturing drives the costs of these glasses down and as the tech gets better, maybe we get more general use cases as maybe the metaverse eventually hits 5 years from now. So could be a big opportunity probably not going to be material to Applied's results in the next few years at least, but it's an interesting and exciting new innovation. And it just goes to show you these companies are always sort of on the cutting edge of innovating and adapting and coming up with new products and business ideas. So, in that sense, it's a positive for Applied that they're always looking into these sort of new businesses. One thing that does differentiate Applied is that it does have a small display business, as opposed to the semiconductor manufacturing only, which others don't have. So it might have also gotten some expertise from its display business, the equipment sold to display manufacturers, which is tiny, but may have added some IP and R&D chops through that as well. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this ever going to be material to Applied? Do you think it's cool? Do you know anything about waveguides and VR glasses? I really don't, except for what I read from Meta's earnings reports.
Discover the world of semiconductors without getting lost in the technical jargon. My new membership offers a perfect balance for investors looking to understand this exciting market. Using my electrical engineering knowledge and experience, I will release weekly exclusive videos ranging from quick 5-minute 101s to in-depth analysis, covering not just popular chip stocks, but aiming to explore every public semiconductor. Plus, join a private community of like-minded investors. Finally, I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
I also thought of that display business that Applied Materials has, Billy. I think this was like, first of all, like Applied Materials, they have been masterful at capital allocation for a long time. Pretty quiet company that doesn't get a lot of credit, but they have been exceptionally good at it. And I see this as just like an easy thing that they saw could possibly turn into a huge business for them at some point down the road. They thought, we have all the equipment for it. We have a display business already. There's very little money we need to spend to get this started. And if it turns into something, it's like very low bar to clear before it turns into return on investment.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting article. I'm glad you sent it over, Billy. It was fascinating. I think it's also interesting too that currently a lot of these waveguides are manufactured in China, and with a lot of emphasis in manufacturing in the United States again, maybe a lot of companies were like, hey, Applied, if you can somehow get like a waveguide manufacturing business up and off the ground, we'll buy from you. So I don't know. It'll be, I think, I agree. I think it's going to be a few years before we probably know if this comes of anything. But at the very least, the tech is super interesting. And I, for one, would be really interested in a device utilizing it. That's just me, though.
Definitely, Nick. I mean, it seems right now we still see from, even though Meta has continued to talk more about the AI, they're still investing in VR. They've mentioned a lot about their AR glasses as well that they've been working on. So, I mean, it seems like big players, and we hear Apple is also kind of focusing, and they're eventually going to drop their AR solutions as well. So it does seem like, who knows when, but that market is going to come. And if big players like Apple and Meta are looking into it, at least there's a higher probability of it being a success to some extent. What I was a little bit weirded out when I first heard that Applied Materials thinking of kind of designing this, but then as kind of hearing from you guys, more learning that hey, they do have that small optics business. It kind of just, hey, okay, maybe like Nick mentioned, right? It's something that they can enter without really burning wallet too much. And if it does happen, if something great comes out of it, then good. If something bad happens, it's like, oh, no worries. We were kind of already in this market, so we didn't have to really invest too much money to really see where it goes from here. So not a reason I would go out there and buying Applied Materials at the moment. But this, I know sometimes investors might be worried of companies losing focus and might want to like week out or sell shares. This wouldn't be a reason for me to sell shares either. It doesn't seem like they're really going to go hardcore into this. Billy, any final thoughts before we close out the episode?
No, not really. I just think these innovations it's just so interesting to see everybody innovate so quickly on all these advanced technologies, which is why I love this space. From these VR glasses to new AI chips to you know advanced memory. So we're getting a lot of that all at once right now in this episode, and we'll see how it all plays out in the next 5 years.